Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome to bout number 183 of Cinesmack, the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me tonight is our panel of award winning judges. First, filmmaker and owner of One Genome Short Productions, Gabriel. Within 2 hours, the population of this neighborhood will increase by 10 Zando Zans. Rowald.
Science.
Second, filmmaker and owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Tom. I do not leak. You leak. Haggis.
Hey, everybody, I don't have a funny quote. I'm unprepared for that. I'm looking. Hang
Welcome.
on. You've got a good thing going here. Keep smiling and don't blow it. Lesson number 3: always trust Centauri. Ooh, I just pulled that out of my ass.
Very good.
Thank you.
Third, writer, actor, and director, Kyle. Me and my, how did you put it? Strange sexual urges aren't talking to you anymore. Fine.
Ooh. Well, now, that all depends. Do you want new Coke, classic Coke, crack rock, free base, Fent, lean, or purple drink?
Fourth,
Well, that
filmmaker
worked.
and owner of Arizona Inc. Studios, Andrew. By now, they're so hungry they could eat a zigzag Zumwalt.
And that must be Big Al. Hey, too many Twinkies.
All right, let's poke the monkey and find out what we're talking about this month.
Ladies and gentlemen, accidental adolescent astronauts and high school heroes, welcome to the main event. Tonight, two 1980s spacefaring sci-fi stories take us on a trip across time and space. Will Flight of the Navigator return in time for triumph? Or will the Last Starfighter finish in first place? In the first corner, from 1986, written by Mark H. Baker, Michael Burton, and Phil Joannou. Directed by Randall Kleiser. Story, Cliff DeYoung, Paul Rubin, and Joey Kramer. Flight of the Navigator. In the second corner from 1984, written by Jonathan O. Two, directed by Nick Castle. Story, K.E. Cuter, Robert Preston, and Lance Guest. The Last Starfighter.
All right. Well, this brought back a lot of nostalgia. Just watching these as a kid in the theaters and then watching them over and over again on HBO and Disney Channel. So I can't wait to see what you guys think about all this. So let's start our first round, which is writing.
Well, that's me. Okay, so this may surprise you as a child born, or as an adult who was a child in the early 80s. I have never seen The Last Starfighter before. So this was my first viewing of The Last Starfighter. However, Flight of the Navigator was probably my favorite film as a child, and I've probably watched it 24 times, maybe more. I don't know. I've seen the movie a lot. And so I'm going to kind of get to the chase here and we'll talk about writing. But The Last Starfighter has, I think, a very interesting, cool premise. I don't know if it was done before in any other film. It has since been copied by books and other media. now that use this game or puzzle or some sort of test of skill that is actually a recruiting tool for a government agency, an alien resistance, some intergalactic war. Lots of things like this have happened since this movie. I'd be interested to see what the history of that is. As far as the conceit, the plot, I guess, and story of the film, it's very simple, but it's effective and relatable for people of the time when arcade games were a thing we were all doing obsessively. At least I was, and people I grew up with were. So I like that. The idea of the war, how they got into it, Centauri, his co-pilot. I mean, some of that stuff is hit or miss here. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief. I At first I was very skeptical of the idea of putting like a replicant of him on Earth, but it ended up being kind of a funny plot device. So I kind of liked it. Um, a little more meat to the story, I guess, and a little bit of I don't know if you'd call it a hero's journey, but someone learning to do difficult, scary things. It also has some problems where the hero ends up being like the last one alive and capable of doing the mission against insurmountable odds and somehow still succeeds. Um, so I don't know, you could call that a contrivance if you wanted to. Solid, good premise, so-so in its execution. Now, The Last Starfighter, I have amazing memories of this movie as a child. And it's scaring the hell out of me because of the aliens and me thinking like the voice of Max was really intense because I always thought Pee Wee Herman was a little scary to me. And The Last Starfighter has very little actually to it. I know there is a meme of like, hey, what happens in Indiana Jones movies if Indiana Jones doesn't exist? Like the movie still happens kind of the same way. This movie has that with its main character. Like the actual thrust of really what happens to the character has zero practical bearing on the world for anyone other than him. He has a memory of this. He ends up in the same place he started. Has a slightly better relationship with his younger brother, and definitely is responsible for the death of an alien creature. Um, Other than that, the movie is a bit of fun in the middle. It's actually much more, I don't know if I'd call it boring, but a lot less happens than I remember happening. The central conceit or mystery of the film, where he's been for 8 years, is very poorly explained. As he's told, I was doing analysis on this planet, and then they never explain what that analysis was, just that you can't deal with his tiny human brain, which is so fragile you can't send him back in time, but you can fill his brain full of star charts in a language he cannot speak or understand, and give him the ability to communicate directly with computers, but no time travel. Really weird. And also, when you scan someone's brain as a super advanced computer, why do you become dumb? That seems like the terrible design for something that's going to be flying your ships, picking up species. What happens if they pick up a mute creature and scan its brain? Then it can't communicate with anybody. It was very convenient for Paul Rubens to act like a teenage kid for a little bit. And this is be careful what you wish for nostalgia. When you watch stuff like let's take the He-Man movie that just came out. I loved He-Man. My favorite thing as a child. I ran around in my He-Man underwear and yelled, "I am the master of the universe" so many times. I
He
had a
still
light
does.
up. I still do. Nothing. There are some things that never change. And then I went back and watched the old cartoons from the 80s and realized I was a stupid child. To think these were entertaining or had any merit at all, I was an idiot. And I feel a bit like that with Flight of the Navigator. It's not terrible. It's very light on everything, except for a very brief musical interlude and Paul Rubens and a fat guy who stares at a ship, which is, I think that guy's my spirit animal. And I'm done.
I think I agree with you. I mean, I think Flight of the Navigator. I was the same way. I mean, I'd Flight of the Navigator. I'd seen probably 24 times growing up, and Last Starfighter probably about the same. I knew all of that. I knew all the lines. Even I haven't seen either of these in about 10 years, and I still knew all the lines and all the beats. And I was surprised at I really loved Flight of the Navigator as a kid, but now I went back and watched it. I'm just like, they're just like you said, Kyle. There's just nothing here. Nothing happens in this story. Um, there's some stuff that aged real badly. At one point, his brother calls him the R word, and I was like, "Oh, okay." The parents let their kid walk a half mile through a forest when he's 8. Like, you definitely would get arrested as a parent for that now.
It was more.
Um,
It was more than a forest. It was like a jungle.
yeah,
Like, where did they
right.
Yeah,
live? It was like
they
the
live in.
Amazon.
Pretty sure they live in Florida, but it did look like deep Amazon at a
Yeah.
certain point.
Yeah, it was definitely it was Florida before Florida became the weird ass Florida it is now. But um,
Are we sure about that?
because this is before it was pretty. It seemed like a very nice place to be. But the I did like the way Flight of the Navigator leaned into like the stranger danger thing about kids getting kidnapped, which was a huge thing in the 80s. Like,
Yep.
as a kid growing up, you just assumed you were going to get kidnapped. Like, it was just, infancy, toddler, getting kidnapped, adolescence, adulthood. It's just the way
Yep.
we all grew up.
And
Um,
quicksand.
and so
A
I
lot
liked how
more
they kind of built
quicksand.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought there'd be a lot more quicksand. Um, so that was one aspect I thought that struck me this time, but there wasn't a whole lot else to it. The dialogue is really clunky and Flight Navigator. Last Starfighter, on the other hand, is probably what I would consider. It's like gamer porn. Like we've played video games. I know in the back of our mind, this means nothing. I'm going to turn this off, and the game is over. But didn't. What if there were consequences of what I was doing? Oh, hey, you're going to beat the high score, and the whole trailer park comes running, and it's like, oh man, wouldn't that be great? Everybody
Yeah.
cheering me on playing a video game.
Mhm.
Like, oh, that'd be the best. It
Yeah.
also speaks to the life of the trailer park. It might really be the most genuinely most exciting thing that's happened there. But I think I don't know. I thought Last Starfighter was just it was just a much more superior script. Um, I imagine Mike probably has some trivia on the scenes with the beta that they added. Do you have anything? Okay, you do. Not great. So obviously, I think it worked out to a really good balance. But I loved Last Starfighter this last time around, and a lot of that is comes up in the later categories. But um, yeah, Flight Navigator, man, like is a movie about nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say off to what Kyle had pointed out of, he ends up being the last hope, the only one, and that's very video game like, right? Like, you play the video
Yeah.
game, you are the main character of the video game, and above all odds, you have to run in and save everybody from the aliens and stuff, and you have the special magic potion or button or whatever the case may be to do that. So even when they transition from the video game to the real life video game per se, he becomes the video game hero. And I mean, I think they transitioned that parallel really well in that writing. Yeah, I mean, it really felt like it was a weird Flight of the Navigator feels like a really long, weird version of Pee-wee's Playhouse on Saturday morning. Like, it's Pee-wee's Playhouse. He's got, all the fun things that happen. He's got weird, kooky friends that show up. We got some Beach Boys to satisfy. It's very Disney-esque, family friendly, over the top, like kid type things that are happening. And like you said, not really much, but goofy dialogue, some scenes in the middle, and a point A to point B. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I will
It's
say,
kind of point A to point A.
yeah, I mean, it almost
Like,
is, yeah, because he goes back. That's true. But he did explain that, that he takes them through time, and that he can't. They were afraid to take the human body back
Mhm.
into time.
Mhm.
But it is, they were trying to do like the theory of relativity, which I did appreciate a little bit, that that's where they kind of, because I always, like growing up, you always had this thought of like, what would happen if you woke up one morning and it was 10 years later, but you hadn't aged because of this movie. Like that was like a thing. Like it was you were like, oh, that'd be weird or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's, they had to have paid the Beach Boys a ton of money, and between that and the visual effects, that was pretty much where they got. Because there's some really neat, we'll talk about it later, but some really neat puppetry. There's some really neat visual effects that were done. Yeah, the rest of it just kind of was like, it was cute. It was like a Pee-wee's Playhouse long episode made for TV. I don't know. There's something that didn't feel right this time.
Yeah, I feel like I've probably seen both of these before. Um, but I don't recall them. I think we mentioned the word nostalgia a few times already, and I think we have to be careful when it comes to nostalgia, because I think sometimes it clouds our perception of these things. This is something that I loved as a kid. This is something that I enjoyed when I was younger. But now, upon rewatching it, maybe it's not quite what I remember it being. It doesn't really hit the same as it used to. And I think we have to be careful with these, both of these, because I think both of these probably carry that kind of nostalgia for many of us. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure that the writing. I didn't feel like the writing was particularly strong for either of these, especially when it kind of came to dialogue. Um, I kind of enjoyed the concept of the Last Navigator, or jeez, I'm combining
Flight of the
them.
Navigator. The
Flight
Last
of the
Navigator.
Navigator. The Last Navigator. That's what we need to do. This is an idea.
Yes, a
Let's
mashup.
let's take this. Yes, the Flight of the Navigator. I like the concept of it a little bit better, and I felt like it was presented in such a way that it was a little bit more um, interesting. It's like, what's happening here? What's going on? And I felt like the Last Starfighter was maybe a little bit more straightforward. I didn't really like the dialogue in the Last Starfighter that much. Um, I just didn't really. It didn't really. It just seemed too basic to me. Um, but I feel like these movies were inspired by other movies from the decade, or slightly previous. There's obvious references to Star Wars, to E.T., those kinds of things. And but I think that these movies may have also inspired other things, like The Last Starfighter. I think you could say maybe in a way inspired Ready Player One. Is there Are there any references to The Last Starfighter in
Well, he
Ready
he
Player
made
One?
another book
Yeah, he wrote a book that's
called
essentially
Armada.
Yep, that's essentially Last Starfighter.
Oh,
Oh my
Same
goodness.
so
author. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like it has inspired that idea, and I think that idea, the concept, has spread beyond that, especially in today's world. And I think you guys kind of mentioned it before. I think they're literally using. They're looking for people with video game skills to fly drones in
Yeah.
war, and those kinds of things. So in a way, that concept is becoming very real world to us, and so I think for me, both of these, the concepts are interesting and very solid, but the execution maybe leaves a little bit to be desired.
I was
All right.
also thinking of Ender's Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
which
That's a
one
good one
came
too.
first, but
Yeah.
I'll look it up when you guys are talking about acting, because I remember reading Ender's Game in high school and loving it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyle, I'm sorry that I cut you off about Armada.
But I don't want to get out
No.
of bed because I'm all naked.
Oh, good. Thank you, Kyle. But you can go ahead and vote.
Huh. I don't know who that was, but anyways. Yeah, writing. Okay, so just because there was some writing in it, I'm going to go ahead and go with The Last Starfighter.
All right. Tom.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Last Starfighter. I don't know what Gabe's talking about. I thought the dialogue in Last Starfighter was fun, and there's some really good
I
bits
don't
in that. I
know.
thought.
Okay. Andrew.
I'm also going to go for The Last Starfighter because I don't know what Gabe was talking about either.
Okay. And Gabe.
Oh, well, I know what I'm talking about, so I'm going to go with Flight of the Navigator on this one.
Oh my god,
Well put, sir.
Danny, you're off the hook.
Oh, thanks, Gov.
I was worried about this one. I'll be honest with you.
In the original script, of Flight of the Navigator, David was to return to 1978 and there meet and befriend a much younger Carolyn McAdams. Actress Carrie Rogers, who played Jennifer Bradley, said she had originally been cast as the 12-year-old version of Carolyn and wasn't notified until after arriving on set that the part had been written out. The character of Jennifer Bradley, whom Rogers would eventually play, was apparently hastily conceived by the producers at the last minute to accommodate her. Rogers also added that the auditions for her part were held at a McDonald's restaurant.
That's not creepy at all. But that's where we all thought it was going, so it's weird that they changed that, by the way.
In the ball pit.
Is that it's
I think
Carolyn.
that's where they had ball pits, Gabe.
Yeah.
At McDonald's, yeah.
Or on the weird hamburglar little seats that you sat backwards on.
Yep. Jonathan R. Batul, I just butchered his last name,
Easy
was
for you to
working
say.
was working as a cab driver when he wrote the first draft of the Last Starfighter script. All right, let's move on to our second round, which is acting.
Robert fucking Preston. Holy shit. How great is he in this? I think that's all I got. We can vote.
He's the whole reason my dad loved that movie.
He is, and look, he's great, and he's great in lots of things. But the fact that this is his last movie and he fucking gave it his all. He dialed in and just absolutely had an absolute blast in this weird ass 1984 sci-fi movie that didn't make any sense when they were shooting it, I bet. But he just fucking leaned into Centauri. I think he does a better job in this than he did in Music Man. Sue me. I don't give a shit.
Wow.
He is so fucking good in this movie. And yeah, it sucks when he dies, but then they bring him back. And so I don't know. I'd love to see a Last Starfighter too, but without Robert Preston, why would you do it? You know? The other
AI,
thing
man.
I thought Lance Guest, he did a pretty good job at wow, my brain just went dead. What's his name? Alex. He did a good job. But he really shined as Beta. I thought that alter ego clone of himself was it was really funny. And there was enough of a division there between Alex and Beta, and I thought I don't know. It just stuck out to me this time watching it how well he does in that other role that could be kind of forgettable. I think the acting in Fly the Navigator across the board was not good. It pains me to say this, but there wasn't really any good performances. Paul Rubens, I love him. I think he's the best, and he did what he had to do with the voice stuff. But I don't know. The people on screen were not bringing it, and um, I don't know. I can't tell you how disappointed I was watching it this time. It didn't, it didn't like, I don't know. You kind of look back in your childhood and you're like, wow, I kind of wasted some days watching this movie over and over again. I don't know what I saw in it. Um, but yeah, I thought, no, I can't think of a single performance in Last of the Starfighter that I thought was good. Howard Hessman's great, but not in this. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's good as what, Johnny Fever? Is that his name? The DJ
Oh,
from WKRP?
yeah,
Yeah, he's great. And I like him as the FBI guy in Clue. He'll
Mhm.
always
yeah.
be stuck in my head as that
He's
guy.
so reined in Flight of the Navigator. I don't know. You couldn't make him a
Yeah,
crazy scientist, but
yeah.
um, this isn't his strength at all.
yeah,
He's playing this weird shade of evil where he's like driven by the desire for knowledge, which is weird. It's not like he wants like power from the aliens or whatever. He obviously is trying to figure it out, but he's like, I want to know the truth. It's like, okay, this is really weird. Maybe just talk to the kid instead of abducting him. It pains NASA very like NASA's the bad guy in this movie, which is a weird choice for the 80s.
Well, no, not necessarily. Wasn't that this kind of the same thing in ET? The scientists that come in, I don't know if it was NASA,
Was
but
they weren't NASA though.
But
I
maybe
feel
they
like,
weren't. But these people, these scientists came in and they were like the
yeah.
bad guys, and they were like, you know,
This was at a time though when every kid's dream was to go to space camp.
Space
So like
camp.
putting
Hell
NASA as
yeah.
the bad guy was kind of strange. But I guess you got to have one. It's like when we watched Sully and they made the transportation board the bad guys because they're like, a movie without a villain doesn't make any sense. And we were like, well, this doesn't work. But I don't remember NASA having this much security or that mustache budget. The amount of guys with mustaches on that base was unreal.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
let's get to acting. We talk a lot about kid acting being so much better these days, like I mean light years better than it was back then. But to be honest, the lead character, whose name I cannot remember now, he's got
Joey Kramer,
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Um,
not
he's
the guy from Aerosmith.
Great.
I had to look
right.
that up.
He'd have had a cool life. I mean, if that was him, that's like when you're a kid, you want to be the president
That
and
was
an astronaut. But yeah,
that was an
he's
urban legend. That was an urban legend for a long time,
Yeah.
by the way. Go ahead.
he's not terrible, and he has a lot of scenes where it's basically just him.
Mhm.
I mean, and that is not an enviable position for a child actor in the 80s because you, on average, you suck, and B, you have no one to act against except for not even a green screen, probably at this point, like
Paul
empty
Rubens.
air, maybe. Yeah, Paul Rubens sitting off screen. I doubt he showed up
And
for those
it
days.
was Paul Rubens even there? Was it just
Probably
a
not.
puppeteer?
He also was not credited as Paul
Oh.
Rubens. I don't know if you guys noticed
Yeah,
that, but he
yeah,
was not
yeah.
credited as Paul Rubens.
Apparently, he chose not to be.
Yeah, he didn't want people to confuse it with
Pee-wee.
Yeah, except
despite the fact
the
that
voice
apparently
is
he acts
so-
exactly
Like
like Pee-wee,
Pee-wee.
talks like Pee-wee. I don't understand.
Yeah. Ha.
Yeah.
You're right. Joey Kramer, he did have to do some scenes with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a little credit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Sex in the City
before
brewing
her.
right there.
Yeah. It was back before her face was frozen in place and she could
Sex in
emote
the
a
hangar.
little bit. Oh yeah, hey. The best actor in the movie by far is Ralph, who is so inconspicuous he can get in anywhere. This is really I think this movie's about the dangers of AI. We let Ralph in, and that really caused all the problems. But yeah, the acting is so serviceable, I guess, for the most part, and some of it's just bad in Flight of the Navigator, and a lot of them are either miscast or they don't have enough to do.
Yeah.
Like, but I give Joey Kramer credit. That's not an easy job to do, and I don't think he'd done much acting before, and I don't think he's done a lot of acting since. That couldn't have been enviable. Like, you're working for big company in those days, making a movie with, I mean, for the time, those are high-end special effects. We get that into more directing but the special effects in Flight of the Navigator were very bad in places, but for the most part, I think held up okay compared to some of the stuff in Last Starfighter. But Last Starfighter, I agree with you too, Tom. I think the fun part of being the beta version was, being this slightly off version of himself who's also sort of an alien. I want to shout out Dan O'Hurley, I think, who played his co-pilot, who's also the big boss in RoboCop. He's like the head of OCP in RoboCop, which
Yep.
was great. I feel like he and Robert Preston got the assignment and like, hey, this is fucking goofy. It's okay to be goofy. You can be weird. You're an alien. You don't have to act like totally human and go by our human conventions. But they seemed to really be going for it and giving it their best shot. I don't feel like anybody was like phoning it in or was completely terrible. It just was, it's not gonna win any awards. But it is so wish fulfillment for a kid. Be like, oh, I'm gonna be cool for playing video games. This is gonna make a difference. This isn't a waste of my time and money.
I mean, Last Starfighter, just the cast very much felt like a Disney movie. Like a lot of it felt like it was on stage, a little overacted, goofy around to make it as family friendly as possible. That over the top family friendliness that we
You
all
said Last Starfighter.
Flight of the Navigator, sorry. But it just has that goofy, like, for example, the one scene that really stuck out to me was when they're falling after he went 20 miles up in the air and they're falling, and he's reaching around slapping things on the seat, and there's obviously the giant button that's right in front of him that he misses like 7 times. And it's weird, but that very much is Disney like. It's very much kid like. It's very that goofiness. We've got some Beach Boys, we got just Pee Wee Herman fun in the sun. We have some cool little fun aliens that he steals and takes home with him that is, cute, and all that I can see in my head is Disney going merchandising, 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 putting that thing on a window. So as to The Last Starfighter, yeah, I mean, they obviously were having a good time. There ain't nothing wrong with a movie with Catherine Mary Stewart in it.
Sure.
Lance is I think he did that straight lace. I play video games and I'm a little weird and not the jockey guys that show up in the truck and got lifted and all that stuff. And he plays that adequately. And I would agree. I think the beta stuff is pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, nothing really jumps out. I agree. Robert Preston is phenomenal, and he always is. So I really liked his co-pilot. I thought his co-pilot was kind of fun.
Yes.
His laugh.
Yes. Oh, Grig?
Grig, yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah. It's funny because that's the only thing I didn't like about his performance was his laugh. I didn't like his laugh. I thought it was a little weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked him otherwise. And they really had some great I think for that movie what they had was really great voice acting. They had really great voices for many of these actors. But for some reason, it's funny. Obviously we're on separate paths here. But I didn't. The one thing I didn't like about his performance was that weird laugh. It's like, why does he have this weird laugh? It made him seem almost kind of nerdy.
I wanted to know why Lord Krill had the weird little snap into his
what
eye.
Did that do?
What was that for?
And then,
and
I
it was
saw that,
so
I'm like,
slow. Like, why?
Yeah. And I remember that. For some reason, I remember that from being a kid.
Yep.
But one of the things that I wanted to know about the acting in these is like, what other things have some of these people done that we would know? Like him, Lord Krill, or whatever. Like, what else was he in that I would know him from?
I have no idea.
Do you guys know? Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I feel like I know these people.
There's
Obviously, Robert Preston. There's obvious. I know him.
Lance. I mean, Lance has done quite a bit, but he did it while he was older too, and so, you may not have recognized him. Maybe I don't know, but
yeah, I'll take a look. But I feel like a lot of these people, like maybe it's that nostalgia thing again. I remember them from my childhood.
Would you recognize them as an older person?
Yeah, would I recognize them in other roles? Would I recognize them in other contexts?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure I I do, because I'm like, obviously, I don't know. I don't know what else they've been in.
There's a
But
website. There's a website you should check out.
Yeah.
imdb.com. They got
yeah,
It'll
I
link
know.
all that stuff
But you know
together.
what? I'll tell you what, Tom. I've
Yeah.
heard of
yeah.
it. I've been
Yeah.
there before, and guess
Oh, yeah.
what? I was browsing it while watching the movie, looking
Yeah.
up these people, and I still didn't know anything that they had been
Did you-
in. I'm like, I don't know.
Did you-
What
Gabe,
else have these people
Gabe,
been in?
Gabe,
Yes.
IMDb stands for Internet Movie Database,
Yep.
just so you know.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hold on,
Gabe,
I think
so a database.
I was.
uh,
I'm telling you, I discovered it while I was watching these movies. I had never heard of it
Did you?
before.
Did you?
And
Hey,
I was browsing it. I was like,
Gabe.
oh my God, this is an amazing
Gabe,
internet movie database
yeah,
that
it's
I
like a
never
whole
heard of before.
database.
And I was looking at it while I was trying to watch these movies,
Did
trying
you-
to go, where have I heard of these people before?
did you catch the
And it
cameo
still
then?
didn't help. It's like, it was terrible.
Did you catch the cameo
I
in
got
Flight of the
that movie.
Navigator?
You know what? That's one of the things about acting I wanted to talk about too, is that Paul Rubens kind of took me out of it a little bit. Pee Wee Herman,
Oh,
doing Pee Wee Herman
Yeah,
as that robot kind of took me out of it. At first, when he first came on, I was like, that voice sounds familiar.
it's popular.
And then he
though.
went, and I'm like, okay, that's
It was
Yeah, he only
popular
knows
at
one
the
way to
that's
laugh.
Pee
time,
Wee.
though.
That's Pee Wee, and it kind of took me out of it.
But
But,
it's
you know,
weird that
maybe at the time it wouldn't have, but now
But like, if
watching it
kids,
now,
time.
it did.
right?
It did at the time too. I remember seeing it in the theater, and it took me out of it. And I was like, I
Oh,
don't understand
really?
why
Yeah.
how do you not put your name on it, but then
Yeah.
put like
But
trademark
you're-
laugh in it?
Right.
Yeah.
You are Pee Wee Herman when you're doing that voice and everything, and we all knew it then as Pee Wee Herman. And yeah,
I mean,
that
86 he was one
Was
of the
he
biggest
already Pee
stars.
Wee Herman at the time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he
It
did
is
good
Was
for
he?
like
Okay.
yeah.
I,
And-
I,
and-
I
10 years.
didn't know the timeline on that.
well,
but
and
yeah.
the thing was even that, I mean, even when you hear it or as a kid, if you had watched any Pee Wee Herman, you guys were talking about he scans it and it makes him dumb, but I mean, if that's the crap that it picked up out of his mind, that probably was in his head, was Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, could be.
But-
Oh shit, that's a
So
good
that
theory.
explains why he went from some like smart computer to.
Because
But
he'd
he
read
was
his
Pee Wee
entire
Herman
mind,
before.
but he wasn't
I-
crazy over the Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
He was normal,
You're right.
straight lace.
Oh
and
no,
then,
but David was from the 70s. He didn't know who Pee Wee Herman was. He
Yeah,
didn't know
he's
who
from
Twisted Sister was.
1978.
Shit, I
This
like
is
that theory. I like that theory. That now it's falling
damn.
apart.
true.
Also,
Yeah.
wouldn't he have gone like, "Hey, you sound like Pee Wee Herman, my favorite
True.
my favorite morning act"?
He wouldn't have known.
I
You're
think
right.
I think
you're
we
right.
skipped past something that's really important. Gabe, do you not know how to read?
What are you saying?
You
what are
said
trying to
that
say?
you looked at IMDb trying to find out where these guys were from and couldn't figure it out. And the only reason I can think that is because maybe you're just staring at all these shapes that we
didn't
call
know any of
letters,
these.
and you
I
can't
didn't
put
know
them
any
together.
of these movies that these people were in. You know,
Oh,
aside from the
okay,
top people like
Okay.
Pee Wee Herman. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Rubens, or Robert Preston, of course. I knew them,
okay.
but a lot of these other people, I'm like, why do I know these people? Is
Yeah.
it only from these movies, these two movies that we watched?
Yeah.
Because I don't know any of these other movies. I
Okay.
don't
Well, I
remember
just
seeing them
So-
in any of these
yeah.
other movies.
Have you
I
figured
just
out the
want to say, like,
cameo
there's no
yet?
I have
shame in
basic
adult
reading
illiteracy.
skills.
There's no
No,
shame in
I-
adult illiteracy. If you need help, you can ask. We're your friends.
Yeah, no, I can read. I've read your posts on Facebook, and I've been
That
horrified.
doesn't.
And at
That
MySpace.
doesn't
Yeah.
count.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Yes.
count.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually 2 strikes against you.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
Speaking of reading, Ender's Game was published in 1985.
mhm,
To answer
a
your
year
questions.
after
A year after.
Last Starfighter.
So,
We got a lawsuit.
so the
Let's do it for him.
the one big cameo in
Got it.
Flight of the Navigator was Will Wheaton.
Oh yeah.
But where was he? I didn't see him. I knew he was coming up, but I didn't see him. Where was he?
He's one of
Where was he?
he's one of the little brother's friends that's playing in the yard with the sparklers and the slip and slide at the very beginning.
Hmm.
And
Did you-
with
yeah.
that disappointing
go ahead.
news, let's move on to our voting. Tom,
Yeah.
Robert fucking Preston.
All right. Andrew.
We're voting for individual actors now.
Yep.
Well, maybe. I'm gonna vote for Catherine Mary fucking Stewart.
Okie dokie.
I just was
Gabe.
going, I felt like I parted the train.
What was she?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to say how she reminded me. I saw her and I was like immediately smitten.
She's
with her,
Maggie.
and
She's
of
Maggie.
course.
She's Maggie in
She
Last
reminded me
Starfighter.
of. She reminded me of Jill, and I was like,
Really?
now I know why. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. She's got blue eyes though, I think, right? But Jill has dark eyes. But yeah. That's not why I'm going to vote for it. But I'll go with The Last Starfighter.
All right. And Kyle.
Sarah Jessica fucking Parker Kramer.
Get out of here.
Versus
You can
Yeah,
pretty
Kramer.
good at
possibly.
that too.
Flight of the Navigator.
How long did it?
I'm not sure. We're not voting on acting skills.
No.
So how long did you decide where to put the fucking in that? Were you like, Sarah?
Well, I figured she had a
Jessica
3
Parker?
where Jessica Parker would make it sound like I wasn't going to do the fucking, so it was a bait and switch. That's what I went with. I thought about it.
Well done.
Yeah, well handled.
Everyone on set loved veteran actor Robert Preston and said what an amazing experience it was working with him. But they all thought he was much older than his actual age, 64. He had been a heavy smoker for many years and unfortunately died only 4 years later at the age of 68.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say he was like 45.
Yeah.
I mean, actors back then, you could not tell.
Right. It was Paul Rubin's idea to make the identity of the actor providing the voice of Max a mystery and was credited as Paul Mall, a play on his name and Paul Mall cigarettes.
Didn't you ever hear what happened to Robert Preston?
I know, right?
And in a kids movie, why not make it about cigarettes?
Cigarettes.
Great.
I don't. Have you ever had a Paul Mall, Andrew?
I have.
No. Are they
have
like
too.
Pee Wee Herman?
No, they're like Robert Preston.
Yes, and that they suck.
Glorious.
Yes.
All right. Third round. Directing.
Oh boy. So I always like to look up other movies that these directors have done to see if I know any of them. So we're gonna start with Mr. Nick.
Where do you look that information up?
I looked
Can
it
you
up
tell
on
me?
this IMDb place. It's
The
free.
Internet
pretty good.
Movie
Before-
Database.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I'll look into that.
You should. It's good, especially for
Yeah.
this podcast. Great information. Great information.
Yeah. We'll see.
The only movie I've seen from him is The Boy Who Could Fly, which he did 2 years
What?
later. Yeah, that's the only other movie I've seen that he's directed. I don't see. I mean, I recognize Major Payne and I recognize Dennis the Menace, but I've never seen either one of those movies. So, I'm sorry. Did I just disappoint you in some way?
There's huge gaps in your film knowledge. Like your lore of Hollywood is missing if you haven't seen Major Payne.
Are you telling me you've never seen
Wow.
Mr. Wong
No, I've never seen Mr. Wong.
or
So-
Delivering Milo? How dare you?
Nope.
What about the sequel, Mr. White?
Nope.
Oh,
so,
okay.
so yeah, I just was nothing that really had jumped out at me. I'm sorry.
Huh.
I apologize. Randall Glazer from Flight of the Navigator. Now he's done quite a few, like Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, Big Top Pee Wee, from Flight of the Flight of the Navigator to Big Top Pee Wee. Maybe.
Oh, I'm seeing it.
He also did Grease, The Blue Lagoon. He did It's My Party, and it turns out that Joey Kramer is in It's My Party, but uncredited, which I thought was weird. So interesting, I guess, lineup of movies that I have seen from these directors. So let's talk about the Nick Castle with The Last Starfighter. There's some really interesting establishing shots. He got to be able to play with some really cool stuff, and I think we'll probably talk more about it in overall, but he got to kind of do some of the very first, all computer animated shots and have these great previs that, he had to come up with and have these moments that he was able to do with a computer. And so, as that stuff was being basically invented at the time, I think as a director, that would be exciting and overwhelming and a little scary because you're not sure what you're going to get. Because, back then it would be days before you would be able to see anything. But I really, that's pretty awesome that they took that leap and they took the chances that they did, because it turned out really cool. And there's some really, really neat, obviously it's dated because it looks like it's from the 80s, but a really, really neat moments where you have all these pure CG shots that no one had ever seen before. There's, I guess, nothing super exciting about The Last Starfighter when it comes to shots. Maybe somebody can school me, but it's adequately shot. He does, never breaks the 180. He's get over the shoulder. There's some cute moments with Lewis in the bunk beds peeking around and stuff while he's got his head off and sitting on the desk. That whole scene was really cute and well shot. But nothing I would say that was like, oh yeah, that was perfect. Very 80s opening too. Credits over the music and all, like the dog and the people getting ready for their day and stuff. So I thought that part of it was very nostalgic. Fly to the Navigator. Again, very nostalgic 80s opening credits with music and things happening in the background. He ended up doing a lot, and I don't know if this was intended, but a lot of like fake outs in at least the opening and multiple different places where he shows the silver frisbee, because everyone had, a silver taped frisbee flying, and you thought it was, the flying saucer, and then it turns out it's just a frisbee, because you knew you were going into a sci-fi movie. And then he did it with the blimp and everybody looking up, and he kind of did quite a few of these little fake outs at the beginning, and then they just kind of stopped. So probably a lot of it was shot inside of a set. So he probably had some interesting challenges in a small room and like a ship kind of cockpit to make it look good and all that stuff. So, kudos. Yeah, we can hit some visual effects stuff later, and some puppeteering, because that would be difficult, I think, to direct all that. Again, I don't know if Paul Rubin was on set. That would totally help, like if there was actually dialogue, going. But so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe Mike can give that a quick Google, find out if he was on set. I feel like Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, I remembered the opening this time. I haven't seen this movie in a very long time, but I watched it a lot as a kid. And I knew as soon as I saw that silver frisbee in the air, I was like, oh God, that's right. This starts at like a dog frisbee exhibition. And it's literally a competition.
Not a very good one either.
No, there's a lot of misses, which I'm like, why did you film the misses? It's also Red Letter Media, a YouTube channel, very famous for doing like old Star Wars videos, if you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They do something, they like to talk about low budget movies, sometimes doing something called Shoot the Rodeo, where they're like, hey, there's a rodeo in town, bring your camera down and shoot it. It's like instant production value.
Yep.
And I'm like, did this guy just find out there was a dog frisbee competition somewhere and was like, hey, this is cheap, let's go down there, we'll put up a sign, we'll have our actor off to the side, he doesn't interact with anybody. It's like, it's so weird. I get the idea of like showing shiny silver things going through the air, but it lasts way too long. It also cuts to shots of dogs running at the camera that have no relationship with frisbees, which is just like, you just needed 2 extra minutes there. Like, I don't understand.
It was
It's
a
not very well
Pomeranian.
Yeah,
Pomeranian.
it did go on longer than it needed to.
Oh my
I
God.
felt.
Yeah. It was like,
and then it doesn't really have any impact on the rest of the story.
That's what I
other than
mean.
to introduce you to his dog, which, by the way, I thought was going to play a much bigger role. I, for some reason, remember that dog having a much bigger role when I was a kid. This dog is barely in the movie.
He learns to catch a
Yeah.
frisbee. That's it.
Yeah. Who cares?
Beautiful dog.
Right.
Beautiful
Yeah,
dog.
cute
It's
Should
a
have been in
beautiful
there more.
Australian Shepherd.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, though, that he falls into the ravine.
And the dog abandons him.
And yeah, well, yeah.
I'm out.
But that is the most jarring transition I've ever seen in a movie. He falls into a ravine unconscious. It then cuts to a slightly different shot of him waking up where it's framed differently and his body is in a slightly different position. He stands up, rubs his head, walks home, and 8 years have passed. There's no indication for the audience that time has passed. There's no...
Yeah, that ravine should have been developed into a...
Yeah, why wasn't he plowed over and like buried in a car park in Tarzana or something like that?
That should be like a
Eaten by an
like
alligator.
a shopping mall.
He
Eaten
was
by an alligator.
absolutely. So I guess the assumption is that they dropped his body back in the same place 8 years later,
Correct.
but it looks exactly the same, which means someone has been maintaining it. Otherwise, it'd be overgrown, right? So someone is. I just would like to see 10 minutes of people cutting the forest around this child's body. Just nobody touch it. Nobody knows how it got here.
He wasn't.
He
there.
wasn't there.
I know. I just, it's, you have no indication of that though, because it's literally one frame and then it goes to another shot. He wakes up.
But they explain it all.
Yeah.
I know,
I
but
think he
there's
wears
no.
I think he wears the same clothes.
It
for the rest of the
is
movie
Because
too.
it was
He never changed.
instantaneous.
that he had on 8 years ago.
It was
He was only gone for 4 hours.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, right.
He was gone
okay,
for 4
okay,
hours. but
Relativity, whatever.
The scene you see him
Einstein.
waking up, 8 years
Okay,
have
well-
passed.
Don't watch Interstellar. It'll fucking kill you.
I've seen
It did.
Interstellar.
It
I've
did.
seen Primer. I've seen all these movies. What I'm saying is this is a very terrible transition to time passing, but I will give it this. It goes into something that I think was like every kid, like latchkey kid or like only child like I was. The fear that you would somehow walk into a house and your parents wouldn't be there or it'd be someone else's house. That was captured pretty well. I was like, yeah, that'd be really scary to go home and like people who aren't your parents are there. But that old couple was pretty mean to him until he starts crying and then they say, Barbara, call the police.
Lucky,
then,
he's lucky he was up there just in a sitting room with his robe on.
Yeah,
and
listening to his
record or whatever.
Yeah,
It's pretty,
thank
pretty
God-
close
thank
to
God
the
he-
old.
Thank God David didn't roll in 10 minutes later. Jesus.
Oh yeah, him and his wife are just banging it out on the bearskin rug.
But I don't want to get out of bed because I'm all naked.
Okay, yeah. Again, don't know who that is. Last Starfighter is pretty. It's pretty averagely directed. I would say this: if you have CGI that is that uneven, don't do it. Use models because the shots where things look good, you go, oh, that looks pretty good. And the shots where things look bad, you go, were you out of money or did you stop trying because you
Are you
put in-
serious?
Yeah, it's pretty.
yes,
it's pretty
some of
early,
the
though.
CGI is very rough.
Oh my
No,
God.
they
You
just-
got,
it
no.
looks like
This was cutting edge in 1984. They used Cray computers.
No
this was
one,
like-
no one could do this. No
Water
one,
cooled.
no one could do
Yeah.
this.
Sorry,
they
I'm-
invented
I'm-
this.
Sure, that's fine. It looks terrible.
No,
That's
like-
By
no.
today's standards, yes, it does.
Oh yeah, by today's standards, it looks terrible. It's
It-
like
it
literally
looks-
like
you know,
playing
you
games
could
on
argue-
the Apple IIe.
It
You
looks like
could
video game.
argue that it looked like a video game.
Yes.
To me, a
Yeah,
lot
but
of times
it's
it
not
looked like a video game, and you could
supposed
argue
to.
that was the intention. I don't think that was the intention.
The
I
rest
think
of their
that's the
world
best they
doesn't
could
look
do.
like a video game. That,
But
Oh my
there's
God.
a
Don't
loop in
watch-
logic there
It
that
was
we're.
the 80s.
Don't
This
watch
is-
Tron. It'll
Yeah, don't watch Tron either.
Oh Jesus! All of these things that I apparently cannot watch, they'll melt my brain. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry I don't like your movie. I'm too dumb for XYZ movie because I don't like your movie. Don't watch Schindler's List if you don't like black and white movies. You'll never get it.
It was actually color back then, but
Yeah, what's good? You know, you just put color in the Wizard of Oz. Don't watch that shit. Don't watch Saving Private Ryan. You watch Wizard of Oz. They're both the color. You won't get it.
I understand. I'm just saying that don't compare it to today's computing power because
No,
it was
but here's the
totally
thing.
different.
Some of the CGI looks better than other CGI.
I agree.
In the movie, but if you can't do it consistently, don't do it. Half poor and half good. That reminds me, I'm watching a movie and you don't have the capability to pull off your vision or the time or effort to do it.
Which movie are you talking about?
I am talking about The Last Starfighter. Yes.
Oh man,
But they didn't.
that's better than Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine
No,
for
what are you
what
talking
it
about?
was.
It's a giant liquid walnut. That is the height of CGI. The stairs pour themselves down. I will say that looked terrible. But
That wasn't
the
computer.
idea,
Do you know that wasn't a
I'm
computer?
saying,
yeah, I know. That's literally someone pouring mercury on the film.
No.
No, don't watch
No,
Snow White. You wouldn't get it. It's all hand drawn.
No,
It was drawn.
It was
Yeah, I
drawn
don't
in
care.
stop motion.
hand drawn. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't watch Sinbad. Don't watch Snow White. You wouldn't get it. No, that looked terrible. But
Yeah.
I loved the steps, the floating steps, like the practical floating steps that were in place from. I thought those looked really cool, and I would love to have steps that look like that like go into my house. You probably have to do it with like.
It sounds like you've got an opportunity to do that right now.
I do, yeah. I should probably
Yeah.
just sue the company that built my house and then build my fantasy house for the
With liquid,
I want
metal
liquid
steps.
mercury steps, please.
And all of a sudden I'm insane and nobody knows why. Well, I can walk up these mercury steps every day.
Man,
I love
is
that
a
you have
habit.
to. You'd have to open with a contractor. Have you seen Flight of the Navigator?
Yes, right. Well, that's how I
It's not-
explain
and
the
then you have to
job.
sit with them and watch it.
Make sure they
if
do
they
it
had
right.
not. Yeah.
Well,
need to have
that's
these
basically
symbols.
how I explain my job to people. I start by saying, "Have you seen the movie The Big Short?" And if they go, "Yeah," I go, "Okay, I can explain what I do for a living." And if they go, "No," I go, "You wouldn't get it."
Wait, you told me it was like The Accountant.
No, I told you that I received an autism diagnosis. There's a difference.
My God. All right. I got just two things real quick before we run out of time. I thought, first of all, the production design on Flight of the Navigator the ship is kind of impressive because it doesn't really look like on the inside. It doesn't really look like, I mean, it kind of was its own style. They didn't copy a lot of other sci-fi stuff. And then the director choosing to use the dolly zoom when the ship changes shape
Yeah.
into the long one, I
Brilliant.
thought it's a really great move. I mean, it's a bait, we've seen it since Jaws, but I thought like, oh, what a clever way of using that as being inside something that's physically changing around him. I thought that was really great. So I just wanted to say those two things about Flight of the Navigator. Still not going to vote for it, but I did like those two parts.
I did love that ship. I still love that
The
ship.
ship's cool.
I also love the Gunstar. Like
Mhm.
the Gunstar is a
Well, the
great ship.
Gunstar's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool.
It's also
Yeah,
a cool
and
name for a ship.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't really get to say a lot in this category, but
Oh, go ahead, Gabe.
just
say your piece.
Yeah, just really quick. One of the things that I liked about Flight of the Navigator was the cinematography. I liked it better than the Last Starfighter. I felt like there was some good cinematography, especially when he was in that strange jungle near his house. I just thought it was more dramatic in many ways. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
All right.
Waiting for the predator
there's
to
a
jump
shot.
out.
The shot in Last Starfighter where he gets the letter and he goes out by the neon sign and the hotel, the
Oh, yep.
trailer park's
yeah,
lit up
that's
and
cool.
he's lit up.
Starbright.
It's a really nice.
That's
a really nice shot.
That's
There are, don't get me wrong. There are some nice shots in Last Starfighter too.
And how that sign goes starlight, star bright.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's pretty clever.
I'm on the wait list to get in there, man. That place is nice.
Yeah, that's fancy. I like
In the
it.
trailer
Everyone's
park
gonna know you too.
I like that Flight of the Navigator had the balls in the mid 80s to hold a shot for several minutes on a fat, drunk hillbilly as a point of comedy. Like, what a ballsy swing in the 80s. Like, literally every movie.
No,
did that.
What do you think
it's
he got
the-
paid for that?
It's the
Like,
dad that gets out of the minivan with the
Yeah, it
khaki
just
shorts
acts around him.
with his socks
Yeah.
pulled all the way up to his knees, his polo tucked in.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
That's all in style now.
that is dad. That
Yeah.
was every dad in the 80s, right
I
there.
just saw Tom last week, and that's what he does.
Yeah, the amount of people wearing socks with sandals now is upsetting.
My shirt is not tucked in.
Don't show us your
Now,
chest again.
now.
Is Donald ducking
Oh,
it?
he does
I
have
got normal
socks on.
socks on.
Tom is Donald ducking it while we're doing
All
this.
right. Andrew,
Oh.
who would you like to vote for?
The Last Starfighter.
All right. Gabe.
I think I'm going to go with the Flight of the Navigator.
All right. Kyle.
Yeah, just to make Tom mad, Flight of the Navigator.
It's not gonna make me. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. This show is over. Count the votes,
Tom.
man. It's over. Last Starfighter.
Okay. I love the spite vote. That's my favorite. Director Randall Kleiser brought in his brother Jeff as the visual effects supervisor who oversaw the use of reflection mapping software to create the ship's chrome-like appearance in Flight of the Navigator. The result was one of the first successful examples of what would later be known as CGI, a full 5 years before the groundbreaking T-1000 of Terminator 2.
And that the visual effects in Terminator 2 really they
still hold up.
hold up
Yeah.
today.
Most of them.
Overall. Yeah,
Most of them.
not everything,
Yeah.
but it's still
I
fantastic.
mean, there's some weird shots.
Point of order, though. Terminator 2. The best shot in the movie is the helicopter under the bridge,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fucking nuts.
and that it's
That
real.
is
And it's real.
bananas.
100% real.
That's-
Yep.
Well,
That's
and
still-
that's where I
it's
think they
still
could have. I think both of these movies could have like benefited from doing more of these things in a practical sense, and then only using CG where they had to.
The Flight of the
You know, I mean-
Navigator is pretty much all. Can we talk about this in overall so Mike can get his trivia
yeah.
out?
Yeah, we can. Sorry,
Well,
my bad.
A great
shut up.
number of the scenes with the beta unit were shot after main filming was complete because the test audience liked the comic relief of the beta unit scenes. And director Nick Castle decided they added more originality to the quote, boy gets to go to outer space, end quote story. This is why in many of the beta unit scenes, Lance Guest is wearing a wig. He had cut his hair by the time those new scenes were shot.
Interesting.
And I thought after reading
Fit.
that, I'm like, well, yeah, but I figured that was just costuming saying, hey, he's a decoy.
Yeah,
right?
he's not
His
quite
hair's gonna
right.
be weird. So it kind of worked in their favor.
It's not quite right. He didn't get
Right.
it.
They definitely had this discussion in production.
Yeah.
By the way, Corridor Crew does a great episode on Flight of the Navigator specifically and on the effects on how they did everything. And it's quite incredible. So highly recommend. Not that
What's
we should
Corridor Crew?
plug it.
Corridor Crew is a group of visual effects guys, and it's on YouTube. They do some really great breakdowns of shots.
Yep.
But people should definitely do our show first, then theirs.
Correct.
So
You should
this one will be
finish
linked-
listening to Cinesmack.
Right.
Are
And
they
then
paying
and then a
us?
link to
Yes.
Corridor Crew from
Right.
here. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Very
Well, for
sneaky how
Kickstarter.
very sneaky how you suggested a non-movie in the non-recommendation part of the show. I would get raked. I would get raked for doing shit like that.
Ni hao, asshats.
All right.
There we
That's a turn for our fourth round overall.
Oh my god! End it now.
I'm okay.
Well-
If you want to take a vote, we can just end it now. That's fine.
Well, I'm not sure there's much else that can be said about these movies, but I think we're going to still continue talking about them. One thing I wanted to mention about these is the director, Nick Castle, the director of Last Starfighter, directed a movie called Tag: The Assassination Game just before that. And that movie had an impact on me as a youth as well, because we actually kind of played that game in a way in school. And you know, the weird thing is now I don't think you could get away with it anymore. It would be frightening. But basically the idea was that you would get a person's name and then you would have to go find them, and you would I don't know what they used in the movie. I don't remember. But we used like these disc guns. They would shoot these little plastic discs, and you'd have to go. You would figure out who this person is and where they are, follow them, that kind of thing, and then you would take them out, and you would have like a kind of a scoreboard. We didn't have, at the time. Geez, we didn't have any way to do it electronically. We had some sort of like scoreboard. I don't remember how we did it, but I do remember that.
You went to high school in the early '60s in Dallas, right, Gabe?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, you got it.
I was just gonna think that like the schools like around here, even like the high schoolers for seniors, they do this. They assign all the seniors, and then they chase them around with water guns.
Yeah, they still do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you?
I feel like
Gabe, were you good at it?
No, I probably got
so
it.
you weren't ever good enough to like, I don't know, like blow
I did
someone's
not
head
be-
off or something like that.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I don't know. I probably got assassinated more than I'm.
Like outside some sort of school book depository.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was
Sorry.
not.
I'm sorry. I'm just checking
no,
where
I
you
was
were.
not that good. I was not that good. But I do remember that movie had an impact on us because we started playing that game. So, and like I said, it probably would not go over well these days, but it sounds like kids still do it.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I did not assassinate Kennedy.
Notice how you didn't say which one. Okay, fair enough.
Well, not yet.
Were you the? Oh yeah, that's one thing about the Kennedys. You're never going to run out of chances. You gotta cut that out, Mike. If you don't cut that out, they're going to make him do push-ups in his jeans. You got to cut that out.
I'm going to go to El Salvador for sure.
He's going to have to get an ice bath with fucking Kid Rock if you don't cut that out.
I'm coming after you.
Anyway, this has gone way off the rails, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of times I think we talk about music in these categories. Did you guys feel like there was any good music in these movies?
I feel like Flight of the Navigator must have spent a lot of their budget on needle drops because they had quite a bit of
Disney probably still does. Yeah,
I like to point out. I want to give Flight of the Navigator props for being so woke about Twisted Sister.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of her. That's a him. Actually, it's a them. Like, I like that. Like, I like the representation.
I have a story for you, if you guys don't mind.
It can't be as good as Gabe going to high school in the early 60s and playing the assassination game in Dallas, can it?
It definitely is not. But
okay.
Growing up probably right around when Flight of the Navigator came out, one of my friend's older brothers had a poster up on his wall they had taken out of a guitar magazine. And he asked me, he goes, "Are those girls hot?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, they're guys." And it was Twisted Sister.
Got you. He got you.
So that whole part of that movie, I'm like, oh my God.
Did that make you want to impress Jodie Foster or
no?
Oh, okay. No. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
I'm running out of.
That was me too.
Oh, Jesus, Gabe.
Yeah. Well, I was inspired by the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Fun. She wasn't.
I thought the score for Last Starfighter was really good. I think I don't know if it's not like on an iconic level, but I definitely know what it is when I hear it, and it's definitely one of the most identifiable. I think 80s like sci-fi scores out there.
It was Craig Safin, right?
And he didn't do a whole lot else than this. I mean, he did some other, like, he did TV shows and stuff like that, but you would think that he would, maybe he hated it. Maybe he hated the whole process and didn't see himself as like a John Williams type. But
I mean, I would say
I love the score for The Last Starfighter.
Alan Silvestri, Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah. And I would say both of these movies, when I watch them again, the first notes in Flight of the Navigator, the high pitched twang, and then the dun dun dun, like immediately brought me back. Immediately.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I threw you guys off with story. Go on. I know you guys want to talk about visual effects.
Well, that and maybe makeup.
Okay, cool.
I
wouldn't mind talking about like makeup effects and that kind of thing. Because in some instances they were really good.
I was just pointing out that the lead model designer and visual effects, actually special effects guy, for Star Wars helped with Last Starfighter and chose to do stuff in CG only because it was groundbreaking. They had never done it before. This was the first movie that has ever had this munch on screen that was full CG. They did like 27 minutes, and that had never been done before. And yeah, it wasn't a perfected process, but I mean, I guess I look at it as, even today, look at some of the companies that are leading the charge for a lot of visual effects that sometimes they hit and sometimes they miss. You've got ILM, which is now Disney, obviously, but ILMs, your DreamWorks, your Weta FXs, they're pushing the limit. The de-aging, Disney took a really, really long time to get there. There are movies that I'm like, oh God, stop doing this. And then there are other movies I'm like, wow, you nailed it. And so I've always seen The Last Starfighter as they are pushing, they're trying something out. They were pushing the limits at the time. And for what it was at the time, that was pretty miraculous. Like,
I get that it's a technical innovation, and it's cutting edge, and they're taking a big swing. And yes, they absolutely deserve kudos for that.
Yep.
But I think when your finished product looks so uneven, maybe you need to reconsider whether you should have done that, because it becomes distracting.
But at what point are you able to, especially at that time, once they rendered the 3-minute sequence, no one wants to be like, you know what, we could just go back and do this in models and shoot this again because it'd be better looking, because they're going to be like, yeah, we don't have the time or money. we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can see the scenes that are really good, like the gun stars.
Yeah.
The when he does the I can't think of the weapon.
Death Blossom.
The Death Blossom. That entire sequence is beautiful. But the scene where they show the base and all the little bombs are flying in and the explosions on it, I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes when he would blow up like one of the enemy ships, like it didn't look very convincing.
Right.
Like the debris would kind of fly around in a weird manner.
Because there was no physics. It was just purely polygons. They were just breaking the polygon up and splurring it out into space. Like the comparison to me is not what do we have, but what did they start? What did they actually, they basically built the foundation for the cool shit that we can see now, because no one believed you could do it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of VFX artists that are our age, or maybe, would have been really inspired by watching this movie and going like, I never thought you could make space look like this, or just create something that is not there at all, I want to get, speaking of makeup and visual effects and stuff, I liked the Dan O'Hurley. He's, I can't remember what his name was. You said it earlier, but Greg. Okay. I liked his makeup. It's not, it reminded me of a kind of makeup you'd see in like a 50s or 60s serial. It wasn't overly serious.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think it's weird to choose that an entire race of aliens should have male pattern baldness. Like even the women, like that's you have limitless
like
choices
or something.
You have limitless choices, and some of like the evil aliens, they looked very cool and menacing. To make the good aliens all look like
they reminded
me Kurtwood Smith from that 70s show.
Oh, I was thinking of the little like scientist husband and wife team from the Never Ending Story, the little miniature ones. The tufts of hair, and he's like,
it's a weird choice.
It is.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
I love Centauri, by the way, being able to take his face off, though, and you just saw like the marbles of his eyes sitting in his hand, and he would just press it against it, and then he would wipe his face and pull his hood off, and it's like, woohoo! It was like a shampoo commercial.
It was a little weird when he was resurrected, and then he took like a handkerchief basically and wiped his face, and all of a sudden he was like Robert Preston again. That was a little weird, but
that's some crazy technology.
Mike, I don't want to ruin your trivia, but Robert Preston can actually do that.
That
Holy
doesn't
shit.
surprise me.
damn it.
It doesn't.
That's
Yeah.
one reason. That's one reason he got the role is that he could do that. And that's
Right, right.
That's why I voted
I'm-
for him.
What
I'm
about the puppetry?
So the aliens in
Flight of Navigator.
Flight of the Navigator, I remember being fucking terrified of as a child, and it has to completely be because of the thing that eats its hat, and then the giant eyeball that comes out of nowhere. That
Yeah.
terrified me,
Yeah.
and all the eyeball can say is I. I didn't notice that when I was a kid, but it made me laugh. I was like, are they trying to get Charo a job? Like, I don't understand that. Now, see, that's a reference you don't get unless you're 43 or older. And I mean, that's actually
I
probably
got
pretty
that
young.
immediately.
You probably got to be in your 50s to get that. But I remember that scaring the shit out of me as a kid. And the slime snake thing
He's got a
is
cold.
still gross. Telling me he has a cold makes it worse. I don't remember that, but then I was like, oh, he's just all mucus. Like that was gross. But okay, I found a plot hole. You have to forgive me. If this ship can travel through time, can it go back to drop off that little cute alien before his planet was destroyed?
It could, but then would it get destroyed after?
But could he go back far enough in time and tell that little creature, hey, this is how you prevent your... Well,
Or were they not
does he have a
allowed?
prime directive?
Yeah, were they not allowed to mess with it because that would screw up time?
Well, he let the kid take him off the ship, so not that much. By the way, that alien's going to die a horrible death when they realize that he can't eat human food and they don't know what to feed
He
him.
was
and
eating the
can't
berries.
mate.
He's fine.
No
He's gonna
way.
love Reese's. He's gonna love Reese's
Oh, yeah.
Pieces.
Yeah.
Um,
Imagine trying to take that thing to the vet.
Where does he poop? He has the one.
Yeah,
Where is he?
nobody knows.
I mean, and we talk about the little alien puppetry, but I mean, you also have to talk about actually like Max's puppetry because having like, so in realism, terrible design for this arm to be on a rail because you'd have to have channels everywhere all over your ship to make that thing work. But in all reality, the puppetry and stuff of it, like it became a character where it was part, it emoted, it had moments where you're like, I know its personality. It had hands at one point, which I thought was weird that they did that once. And then like he never had hands again. I'm like, that would be really helpful. Why would you not do that? But so I thought that was actually pretty cool. The other thing I was going to say about the ship is I thought it was interesting that they came up with a way to actually do a full reflective surface like that without getting the camera.
Yes.
So
We
that
talked
was
about
another
that.
technique.
My wife and I were like,
Yeah.
it's not completely reflective. Like it's a little bit matte and it has a lot of dark shadows.
Until it
and I was
shifts.
thinking, I was like, I wonder if they covered the camera rig in either black or silver reflect or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, that's bold to basically put a bunch of pseudo mirrors and then be like, yep, we're going to aim our camera at that all the time. I was like, yeah.
So
From someone who's had to do lighting for stainless steel appliances,
yeah,
that is a nightmare.
Yeah.
An absolute nightmare.
100%.
But if you have a stage big enough, which I imagine they did, you can hide those lights a lot easier.
Yeah. So that,
That's bold choice though.
Otherwise, yeah, the rest of it, with the ship and just some of the shape shifting and the way that they had actual practical props of the ship that they built, which I'm impressed with. That's a lot to have that kind of, but really cool that it's that physicality for people to be able to touch and do things with when it wasn't in. And then can you imagine being hired to do all the drone shots? Well, it wouldn't have been a drone. It would have been a helicopter.
Helicopter.
Yeah.
And doing all of those shots and going through all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty crazy. And I mean, even the space scenes looked relatively, Superman-y. So they must have learned something from Superman. The big glow of Earth was there. That's right.
And I feel like, Flight of the Navigator really kind of rode the line between doing the CG stuff and doing practical stuff better than Last Starfighter. I realized that Last Starfighter was trying to push, the boundaries and do more of it in the computer, but I felt like Flight of the Navigator had the right balance between practical effects and visual effects.
Well,
And
they
I
couldn't
think a
do
lot
them. That's why.
or maybe they couldn't, but still, I feel like that was a better result than what we see now in the Last Starfighter. And I think a lot of modern movies are learning to ride that line as well. Do as much as you can in a practical sense. Build your models, have real sets, do all these things, and then enhance them when it's not practical or safe to do them that way. And then enhance this stuff with CG type stuff.
What's
And
cool is like Centauri's. Speaking to that, Centauri's car, like it was very obvious that thing was on tires.
Exactly.
But
It
they
was
did
real.
a great job
To
of
a certain
actually
degree, yeah.
modeling it in the computer for all of the space scenes.
Right, where it's flying through space. Yeah.
Because that was CG
Yeah.
and not actually the car. But they
Yeah.
modeled this that's really impressive. Especially for
and
the
that's
time.
that's what I was talking about. There's like this blend of the two
Yeah,
that makes it more
the Flight and
believable.
Navigator stuff, the things they did they really couldn't do them well. So
All right. You guys have anything else you want to add to overall?
I'm not sure
We're
there's
way over
much else
time.
that can be said about these movies.
Thank you, Gabe. Yeah, I wonder how many cans of Doling spray they went through on the shoot.
it was
Because Doling
Aquanet.
spray, you can spray it, yeah, or Aquanet.
At the
as
time,
well.
it was probably Aquanet.
You can just spray it on the shiny metallic surface, and it'll dull it, so you can not get sharp reflections. So I'd like to know what the budget was.
Those
for
hot girls you liked
Aquanet.
in the 80s used a lot of Aquanet. Like,
Yep. And they all probably grabbed. I mean, they probably brought in Sarah Michelle Sarah Michelle.
Sarah Michelle.
Sarah Michelle.
you guys are on first name.
Yeah.
First name, wrong name.
Brought her in and was like, "Hey, what do you use?" And they're like, "Aquanet," and they're like, "We can dole the ship down."
Yep.
Yeah, we used it for our potato guns.
Oh yeah.
Aquanet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff
All right.
was
That's
something.
probably illegal too. You're going to need to cut that out, Mike.
Let's put it to a vote. Gabe.
Oh boy. Overall, I don't know. I really I really enjoyed both of these movies. It's hard to vote for one over the other. I think I appreciated Flight of the Navigator more.
All right. Kyle.
Yeah, the sting of nostalgia. Flight of the Navigator.
All right. Tom.
I'm gonna go with Last Starfighter because Flight of the Navigator loses points for the robotic waiter, giving him a name that's synonymous with vomit. That wasn't mentioned.
Ralph.
I don't know. Like, I don't want the guy bringing my meal to be named Ralph. Like,
This will
they
be your
could've gone
waiter
with
bot. Up, Chuck.
any
What's up, Chuck?
any acronym they could have chosen, and they're like, let's do the one because we're delivering food, and when you throw up, that's kind of what you're doing. So let's name him Ralph.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a long way to get there, but yeah, obviously, Last Starfighter is the better
I got to
movie.
make an Amazon return real quick. Andrew.
I'm gonna go with the Last Starfighter.
All right. All visual effects, not practical effects like makeup and explosions, in The Last Starfighter were made on a Cray X-MP computer, which at the time cost $10 million. $10 million to $15 million, which adjusted for inflation in 2025 comes out to be 32 million to 48 million, using 1983 as a start year. When this film was being made, not when it was released. Even in 2026, a fully functional one from that area sells between $10,000 and $50,000.
There's one in Sneakers. They sit on it in Sneakers.
Yes.
And the amount of compute power in a Cray is now in the palm of your hand.
That's right. I have the power. 34 years after Flight of the Navigator, Joey Kramer starred in the crowdfunding documentary Life After the Navigator in 2020 about the impact and legacy of the film in his life after he left his acting career. It was filmed a few months later after Kramer completed his time in jail. In 2016, he was found guilty for robbing a Scotia bank in British Columbia and sentenced to a custodial term of 2 years less a day, as well as 2 years of probation.
Hmm.
The dude robbed a bank.
Child actor turning bad. That's
Crime?
wow.
Yeah,
What?
that's
What?
bad.
When did that ever
That's new.
happen?
Wow, I'm shocked.
That's
Shocked.
new.
Crazy.
That must be the
Yep.
only one. Like I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yes,
that
the
that,
only
that, that
one.
was like an outsider.
Yes.
We've given
Yep.
them so much, and they just take.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our recommendations for this month. And Kyle, you start us off.
All right. I'm going to start with a movie I just saw last night, and I told Mike he has to see it as well. It's a movie I have not seen anything like in quite a long time. If you like, I know it's not really correct anymore to call them like Hong Kong action films, but if you just like action films with a slight revenge plot and a ton of crazy ass action, a la think like The Raid, Hard Boiled, um, The Killer, uh, The Raid Redemption, The Raid 2. You should see The Furious. It's a new movie, just came out, shot in 2025, just came out, and it is absolutely incredible. As the best final fight scene I've ever seen in a martial arts movie. I mean, it's well worth your time to watch. If that sounds like fun to you to just watch people do incredible practical fight choreography, you'll absolutely love it.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh my God, you will adore it.
Tom.
All right, so we got some nostalgia coming your way. So here's what you need to do: you need to hop on YouTube or whatever, and you need to watch 2 episodes of Masters of the Universe, the old cartoon from 85, 86, right around the same time as these movies, and then go see the movie Masters of the Universe. I think one of the reasons it didn't do very well and it wasn't responded very well is people don't really remember how campy and corny and ridiculous the Masters of the Universe cartoon was. It was, and the new movie captures so much of that really, really well. Um, so like my son bought the entire series of Masters of the Universe on DVD, and we watched a couple episodes, and then we went and saw the movie, and it was such a cool experience. I told him, "Thank you for having me watch the original ones because I did not remember them being this
Yeah.
ridiculous and over the top." There's one episode in particular where there's a circus coming to town, and Skeletor wants to take over the circus and kick everyone out so that he can just watch the circus by himself. Like he doesn't want to take over eternity or anything. He just wants the circus for himself. That's what this level we're talking about. And so you should yeah, go find a couple episodes and then watch the new movie because the new movie is really funny and it captures so much of that original show. And I hate, and I don't hate to say this, but Jared Leto is the high point of the movie. He is really, really funny as Skeletor.
I agree with you.
He just so ridiculous, and his laugh, and you don't really even know it's Jared Leto until the end of the movie. But he just like chews scenery and makes stupid comments and is mean to his staff just like Skeletor in the cartoon.
As
So anyway,
Skeletor does.
oh my god, it was so much fun. I look forward to seeing it again. But yeah, go check it out.
And Camila
Good
Mendez
choice.
is in it too.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
she is.
Camila Mendez.
Camila Mendez. She is.
Oh,
She
yes.
plays Tila.
Yep.
She's very good.
All right,
She
Andrew.
is. Oh,
Calm down, boys. Calm down.
what I was going to do was take us way back to a little bit of nostalgia about the same time as Flight of the Navigator and The Last Starfighter even. My movie is wacky, crazy, a little out there, and probably the most weird movie, one of the weirdest movies that came out of the 80s that I know of, that ran for almost 2 hours, which I felt is a little long for this movie, but you know, some weird music that came out of it. It has Leah Thompson, Jeffrey Jones, and Tim Robbins, and that's Howard the Duck. So it's a bizarre movie, but it's got some weird moments, and it's got a dude in a duck costume for the entire movie, and it's quite humorous. And there is probably the first time I've ever seen bestiality on the screen that was supposed to be a kid's family movie. Leah they were gonna get it on.
So my mom and
Yeah.
dad rented that
Oh,
and we started watching it. I have never watched a VCR get unplugged from a TV because he couldn't figure out how to eject it fast enough.
and you know what? If you're a
He just
Marvel
like
fan,
grabbed it.
Howard the Duck is actually a Marvel character. So, there you go.
Oh, good pick. If
With the
you enjoy
nexus of
campy,
Somnus.
horrible movies, Howard the Duck is it. Gabe.
Yeah. So you were talking about uh, Masters of the Universe. Do you guys remember Thundar the Barbarian at
Oh,
all?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
remember that? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I always loved that. That's not my recommendation, although I enjoyed that a lot when I was a kid, and it's one of those things where if I revisited it, I might be disappointed. The
Probably.
nostalgia effect, but I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Like the
Um,
Herculoids.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was actually going to say that once Gabe was done talking. I was going to say I preferred the Hercules.
The Herculoids.
Yes, I remember that one too. Was that the one? Did it have a dinosaur that was kind of like a triceratops that
He
shot
shot
Yes.
rocks out of
things?
its
Yes.
horns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
It had
remember
the
that one
Glop.
too.
dragon
Yep.
and Glip and
Yeah,
Glop. Yep.
yeah.
And
Maybe Leap and
Captain
Glop. Yep,
and Captain
yep.
Caveman would play and pair with it. Yep.
Oh yeah. Maybe this should be my recommendation. Maybe I'm just gonna go with this.
Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yeah,
No.
I'm gonna go with Thundar the Barbarian. Go back to your childhood
Tom.
and watch that. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll with it. I
All
mean,
right.
it's bringing back fun memories. So yeah,
You can tell we
Thundar
were
the
the
Barbarian.
generation raised on USA Cartoon Express because
Yep.
those were
Yeah,
all on that show.
Space
yeah,
Ghost.
yeah. And I loved them. I don't know why. And they're very derivative. It's funny. They're very derivative of like Star Wars and that kind of thing. Because Thundar basically had a lightsaber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And his sidekick was essentially a
was
Wookiee.
basically like
Wookie.
yeah, it was basically Chewbacca. Ookla
Yep.
was his sidekick. Yeah, and he was basically Chewbacca. Yeah, and it was very derivative in some ways. But yeah, I enjoyed those as a kid.
I
So you
like
know what
that
the heck, I'm gonna go
recommendation,
with that.
Gabe.
I'm
I
gonna go
like it.
with it. Yep.
Mine is going to be from 1986, and this was a movie that was on HBO a lot, and it was actually made in Australia, and the original name of it was Frog Dreaming, and when they brought it to the U.S., they changed the name, and it stars the young actor from E.T., Henry Thomas, who oh shoot, Flight of the Navigator kid. Joey Kramer said he had a hard time as growing up because people would think that he was Henry Thomas. And but it stars Henry Thomas, Tony Berry, and Rachel Friend, and it is kind of it's another wacky 80s film, and it's about this American orphan living in rural Australia, and he finds himself caught up in the magic of a local Aboriginal myth. And I remember it distinctly. There is a steam shovel monster in the movie, and that's always stuck with me. So, if you get a chance, if you can find it, check out The Quest from 1986.
Interesting.
The 80s were a wacky time for movies, guys. A
They
wacky time.
Yeah.
Wacky.
A good time. Good time.
All right, let's poke the monkey, find out who won.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
I know.
Your winner by decision is the Last Starfighter!
All right. It was where the hell did my where did the scoreboard go? 10-6.
Hmm.
10.
It wasn't a
6.
landslide, so I
No.
think that's all right.
No. And I agreed with a lot of what you guys said. So
What else is new?
that's true. Senna agree. Please
I
leave us a
disagree
rev-
with that, Mike. I disagree with that.
You know what I don't disagree with.
But I don't want to get out of bed because I'm all naked.
Please leave us a review on whatever podcasting service you use. It helps us reach new listeners. If you like us, tell your friends. If you hate us, tell your enemies. You can contact us at cinesmack@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, where you can join the live recordings. Just search Cinesmack for all those. In July, we put on our sunglasses and square off against the three storms. It's They Live versus Big Trouble in Little China. I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
For Gabe, Tom, Kyle, Andrew, and myself, thanks for listening and go catch a flick.